Hello. Today we're just going to make a quick tier list on a bunch of new things in 1.17, the cave update. As of snapshot 21 W08A, I think. There'll be a new snapshot tomorrow, which is B because iron ore generation is wacky. The only thing that's not really correct are these things down here. The deep slate, I think. First, their name has been changed, and also these are the old textures because I didn't want to re-add them to the tier list. But anyways, this is just a tier list of all the new blocks and a bunch of the items as of that snapshot, 21W08A. So, I'm acquainted here by Editing Bug.
Acquainted. Some pretty special vernacular you got there.
Right, I'm very grammatically correct.
Yeah, that word didn't make sense there. I wasn't going to say anything, but
Acquainted by? What do you mean?
Acquainted his first meeting.
Oh, that's true. I am accompanied by. There we go. We'll just cut that out. Cut?
I have not followed anything, so this is going to be pretty interesting.
Right.
I like to be surprised, so it's going to be an experience.
Okay. Well, one of the things, I guess we'll start first with the crystal geodes, which is these purple kind of crystal things. Essentially the one that doesn't have any cracks in it, this one, the one I just put in wood, it spawns in like a spherical dome type thing. It's just a sphere. It spawns underground.
Where?
Anywhere.
Okay.
Just underground somewhere. And they have a tendency to spawn these cracked versions, which aren't really cracked, they're budded. And what they do is they have a chance of every so amount of ticks, I don't really remember, they can spawn a smaller version of this thing, and it will grow, and when you break it, it will give you one of these things. And one of these things can make a telescope, which is just like Optifine and Zoom, but you zoom in like not instantly. You also have to have it in your hand, and you also can only see a square in the middle of your screen. So it's like Optifine, but worse. But then again, it's Optifine isn't vanilla, so you can't blame it. And you also can make this new type of glass, which can be seen through, but light doesn't go through it. So, like if you have light outside of a
Interesting.
box surrounded by it, the light doesn't go through, which is actually really cool for like mob
That's
farms.
helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can like look into a mob farm. You can make a bunch of really cool ideas. And on top of that, the texture's really cool. So, I mean, we just talked about a bunch of this. So, I don't know where I'd put this glass. It's
Yeah, we
really,
should
I
probably
really
put
like it.
everything out,
Right, yeah, my bad.
take everything out of wood, and then take the glass out. I
Um,
think you're sort of losing the point of a tier list.
cheers.
Just put it all in wood.
No,
Just get it
okay,
over
it
with.
was just an example because I don't have my cursor on the screen. Anyways, just to show you like where. But I really like this glass texture, even though you can't see it like at all. I'll put a white background and the glass up there now, so you can actually see what it looks like. But I really like this glass. I think it's a really cool take on, not stained glass, but a different version of glass. And also, I just really like how it doesn't let light through. It makes a very cool idea. So I would say
It's
diamond
going
or
to be
netherite.
very useful.
Yeah, it really is
I'm
for
gonna, I'm
seeing
gonna
through.
go with diamond just for the fact that it's a little. I mean, it makes somewhat sense, but having to use crystals for glass is,
They looked
I don't
up one
know.
of the reasons like that they I'll put it in the card now where they talked about it in one of the Ask Mojang type things. They were talking about different things that crystals were used in, and they're used in glass. It is kind of weird, and I'll show the crafting recipe on screen as well. But it is really kind of weird, but I really like the concept. It's just like not really original. I guess not many things here are original, but that specifically, it's just like I don't know. It's tinted glass.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for those reasons, I'd keep it in diamond.
Yeah. I don't think it's that extreme. Now, if we go like in order, the next thing is these normal amethyst blocks. Now I really like the purple. I just like that specific shade of purple. It also kind of matches the theme of the channel, but it makes a really nice sound when stepping on it and placing it. I'll play that now. Um, but it makes a really nice noise. Kind of like wind chimes. I like it, but it doesn't have any use. I'd say like iron this block is just aesthetic. I'd say it's a really nice looking block. I'd say iron. I don't think it's definitely not diamond.
I
What
feel like not.
stone are
I
they?
feel like it's a nice block, but especially because it's purple, it only is gonna go with certain build styles. I'm gonna go with stone, but that's just me.
Yeah, I will agree with you. The only thing is the next one like helps. Like I guess you get the crystals which go for this. So I would either make it like a little above or stone or iron.
Again, but you can't move it,
Right,
so
yeah,
there's
it's
no
gonna
aesthetic purpose. I would
right,
keep
it's
it
true.
in stone again.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better than the aesthetic version of the block, I guess you could call it, because it does give you these shards, and the telescope is a cool idea. It does like add this feature that everyone's been using for a very long time in Optifine. Though I really think it should be a hotkey. If you have it in your inventory, you can use it. But that's besides the point. And it also gives you the really cool glass. This shard, I really don't know what to do with it because it kind of is just this, but it's just like I don't know.
I would honestly just put both of them, in my opinion, because they're great for the glass, the telescope. I would put them both in iron. That's just
Right.
me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But because they're better than just the blocks as aesthetics, because they have purpose. But
Right. This I think you can place down anywhere, and also it has a bunch of stages. I'm not really sure on that. So right, yeah, and I think that this is it may even be used in the future for different things, but I definitely think that it deserves to go above the aesthetic and kind of the farm aspect of it. Telescope, I'm not really sure where it should go. I don't know if it's necessarily up there with glass, and it kind of is just an Optifine feature, but worse in a lot of ways.
it's Minecraft.
Right, exactly. It's Optifine is a mod, so I don't think we should base it on Optifine already did this. We should base it on well, Minecraft hasn't, and they made it in a way that is honestly pretty cool. It's smart. I'd say it's like top iron or maybe even diamond because it's a really
I'm
cool
gonna go with
concept.
diamond. It's
Yeah,
definitely not netherite just because of how limiting it is, but I think it's definitely up there.
yeah. It's a really cool concept.
Because if you don't have a modded client, then you're not gonna be able to zoom in on anything, which is miserable.
It's like well, Green always says because when new snapshots come out, Optifine isn't adapted for them yet. Or not snapshots. When new updates come out, Optifine doesn't adapt right away. So Green like turns his FOV all the way up to be like poor man's Optifine. And I feel like this is just gonna be like a spin-off of that. Every new update, everyone's still gonna use Optifine. I feel like if you're already using Optifine, you're still gonna use it. But and then you also can get double Optifine. Like if you use Optifine and the Spyglass, it will be stacked on top of each other. But I feel like Optifine's
Mm-hmm.
still gonna be used if you're already using it. There won't be any difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that we shouldn't really base it off of Optifine. It's like it's just a real cool concept. Um, so moving on, this block is found surrounding the amethyst. So you find this in spheres around the amethyst, and it is smooth basalt. So you can cook basalt in a basalt. You can cook basalt in a furnace and get this block. And I really like the texture. I think it's just it adds on to that color palette of the nether.
It's
Like
a
it just
nice
goes
texture, but I feel like it's not great.
right compared to some of these other dark blocks. I feel
Yeah,
like it's not really good.
I don't know,
I'd
but
say, hmm,
yeah, I can agree.
I
Yeah,
think
I could go either way
flowstone
with that.
or wood. I don't know because I feel like I'm gonna say wood. Actually, it is a nice block, but then again, all of them, I don't hate any of these blocks. So saying this, like I feel like it's not bad, but I think it's one of the worst ones out of all of these blocks.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, this is something calcium. No, that's a nutrient. Something. It looks like marble.
Diorite, Diorite 2.0.
Right, but you cannot argue. Like I'll show a comparison now. I really think this is better. It looks similar to smooth diorite, but I
Diorite.
feel like it's way better. Like you have to admit, it's not like
In the famous words of Iscal, it's bird poop, and
right, but
it's not clean
it's
enough to be
marble.
marble. It's not that clean. I'm sorry. I think that's got to go in wood.
No, I'm at least putting it in. I'm gonna say it's better than this, because if you're using diorite, sometimes I'm sorry, Iscalians out there, but I feel like diorite can be used. If you know how to use it, it can be used. And I feel like this just adds a gradient in Minecraft, and it just adds on to that. I really don't think that it's perfect. None of these kind of weird blocks are really perfect like this, but I really don't think it's bad, because it adds some variety, and it definitely looks, you have to admit, it's better than diorite. It's at least better.
Somewhat.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. I'm gonna leave it there. I think that's a fine place at least. This rooted block, I didn't even know was in the game until I looked it up and put it in the tier list. But I think that it's just if you put dirt under the root. So moving on to the root, I don't know if this is the new texture for it. There was Strappa made 2 textures. I don't remember which one he put in the game, but I think it's just like it just spawns in caves, like on the roofs. It only goes on the roof, and honestly, the texture isn't that bad, but when are you really going to need it is the only thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I will say caves are really bland as they are, and I mean that's the whole point of this update. But adding anything like that, I feel like is going to be an addition, like a good addition.
But yeah, I guess the subtlety is really what it's about. I would say it's not good for building, I
Nah,
don't think, but it's really good for the atmosphere. I'd put it somewhere up there, and the root can.
I would put it in stone. I think it's too much to put it in iron for,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
again,
yeah.
you're never going to really build out of it, but it is a cool thing to add.
Yeah, it's like built on the atmosphere. So this is a weird one. I'm gonna move these up actually. This is a weird one. So essentially, this is an azul something. It's a tree type essentially. It's just tree leaves. Now both of these, the first 2, come without leaves as well, but I only added just the ones with leaves because I think they look better. And I would have grouped them
You
together
mean
anyways.
flowers?
Right, that's what I meant. The flowers. They come with and without flowers. Imagine no leaves. Um, so this is basically a tree leaf type, and this consensus is that there might be a log with it, but it hasn't out yet, and there's nothing confirmed. I really like this. It's a really fun spin on just leaves, because we haven't seen anything like this that adds difference to leaves. They're all green and just green, and then black if you're using fast settings. But I really like this. This is probably my favorite new leaf, because like you can add it on any tree and it just adds that little thing, like that little special flare of color, I suppose. I think it's definitely iron at least.
I can agree with that.
This, if you bone meal moss on certain blocks like grass and stone and tuff and stuff like that, it will spread along with the carpet moss, which is this one, and it will also make the flowered and non-flowered version of this little plant. It's kind of like a bonsai. I think that it's kind of gonna be cool to anything that adds more greenery to Minecraft. I think is just really good, because we don't have that many like greenery things for gardening and stuff. It's like
Other than other than the entire game with let me think, grass, uh, leaves, flowers,
it really okay. So flowers and then the grass, great, and then leaves.
saplings,
Right, but saplings as of right now,
seeds.
will grow into a tree, and no one wants their garden to just explode with logs and leaves. So it adds this little. I just think that any greenery type like flower block, like things like this, is really good, because it adds more variety than just flowers. Like flowers are very simple, and I think that this is something that we haven't seen before in Minecraft. But I think it still kind of fits. So I'd
I
say that
wouldn't put it too high.
it's a high stone. It's definitely one of these 2, I think. I'd say maybe high stone.
Yeah, yeah. I will say though, yeah, with that one I think stone. But when we're going into the moss blocks, I do agree with you. I know I sort of just didn't, but a little bit of the green with the moss might be nice. Oh, that's a little much.
No, 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 no.
That's a
You don't
little much.
understand. For so long, people we can definitely talk about moving it, but for so long, people have been wanting grass to seep over the edge, And now we have that. And on top of that, that's not even it. Right now, it was in the tour video, which I'll put a card in. This isn't a plug, I swear. We show off the flowers, and I just put a bunch of green carpet down. And it's just like, great, the green carpet, it doesn't match. So essentially what this can do is this moss block is it can make like it can make fields like light up because you can put lights under the carpet and now no torches. Especially if we look inside of the walls in our craft, there's just torches everywhere. Stacks upon stacks of coal, just torches, and it looks terrible. But we can add these moss carpets and these moss blocks to kind of even it out and add a little bit of variety on top of lighting it all up. And I don't know if it's necessarily netherite. I just put it up there for the lulz, but I think it's definitely
You make a fair point with the carpet. I think
right.
that honestly the carpet can stay up there, but there is no
All
way
right,
that
that's
just
fair.
a
That's fair.
regular green block can stay up there.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's variety, but not enough variety. I see what you mean. Above, I don't
Yeah,
really know. It's fine.
I'd say iron's fine.
Cool. Okay. So this is good for parkour. So essentially what it does is when you stand on it.
Wood, if wood
Okay,
now.
okay. Right, but also aesthetics. Well, first of all, it's basically what it does. You just immediately said wood. Essentially what it does is it lowers the platform for as long as you stand on it, it will start to lower until it lets away. And on top of that, it also is good for clocks in Redstone because you can have an armor stand on top of it, and it changes states into an observer, which is very situational. That's the word. But it's a cool block. Honestly, I'd say low stone. It's really I don't like parkour per se. I don't dislike it, but it's also like not that cool. Like
Yeah, I think it can go there. As much as my inner hatred of parkour is telling me that it should go in wood,
it's not
I feel like
only parkour though. It's not only parkour. There's more
stone's
uses.
appropriate.
This is basically this, but smaller and in a plant. And if you blown meal it, it becomes the big tall one, and it can be sold by wandering traders, which cool. It's like a 1 in 8 chance. So whenever you don't immediately kill a wandering trader, you can have a chance of getting this. That's pretty cool, I guess. I'd say low iron. It's literally just aesthetics. So there's nothing I'm like you don't know about. It's just aesthetics. Actually, I'm gonna put it down here because I don't
I
think it's
know,
as
but
good as
it's
this.
nice. It's not too big. I think that it should be an iron, especially for the aesthetics. I
Yeah, all
think
right.
that'll add to your
It's one
ability to have
block. Yeah.
vines and other stuff like that.
Okay. This is another thing. It doesn't spawn naturally yet, but it goes in the Lush Caves that will soon to be. I really don't think it's bad. It also drops these berries, which are kind of just retextured, normal berries, whatever they're called. Um, this also emits light, which is really cool. We haven't seen anything like that before. That's another thing that can go in guard. Like I just watched a video, which I'll put in the card again, about someone talking about how the 1.17 update is just a secret gardening update, and I really see it because the Lush Caves has so many good things for brush and stuff like that, greenery rather. So this emits light, which is really cool. The more berries there are, the more light it emits. It's also like the weeping vines, no, the crimson vines that go downwards. That's basically what it is. Um,
I
I
would say that definitely with the color, it can go in iron if you really want to push it up there.
yeah, I don't think it's as practical as the drip leaf because
No,
it
it's
has to go
bigger.
down.
But
Yeah, it can extend. Yeah,
and then I will say I feel like the berries are kind of useless.
they are 100% useless. Maybe if they gave you the glowing effect for like 2 seconds, that would be really cool because we haven't seen. Well, I guess
It would
these
still be
fishes do.
useless though for 2 seconds.
Oh,
Like
yeah, 100% it'd be useless. But it would also. Nope, it can't even get you the how did we get here advancement because that's kind of just shoot yourself with an arrow. Yeah, okay, that's just useless. I don't really know what they could do with that. This in the Minecon, they were talking about how it closes and opens, but it also emits this green particles that just fall down, and you can add it to trees, and it like makes it look like there's leaves falling down. So in really atmospheric places, I feel like it can be used. But as of right now, it's just kind of not Minecrafty. It's just like really weird. Um,
yeah, I
it
agree.
also only can go on ceilings, so it's just like
Yeah, I feel like it could go there. I mean, I honestly think it could go to wood just because of how specialized it is when you actually need to use it.
Right, that's true. More okay, I will say more control on particles in Minecraft could be really cool, but implemented in a way that it's only top down is just you can
It's
put it
tough to work with.
on like these type of trees and it would fit in and it would also give that aesthetic. So like this is something that we totally could do with that big plains biome. Is just add a bunch of custom trees with these leaves. I don't know how hard they're
Yeah.
gonna be, and then add this to make it this super atmospheric thing and make it like a Lost Woods type thing with
hmm
trees, leaves falling down. It could be cool. The only thing is, without actually having use for it as of right now, I don't see it being useful.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
this lichen is very weird. It's essentially leaves, but it can be placed anywhere, anywhere on any surface, waterlogged, and it emits just a little bit of light. So I think what they were going for was just lighting up caves. Just this one randomly spawning thing that lights up caves just a little bit.
I like it though,
And I
just for
like
the
it.
look that it can be on stone or in caves or out of caves, just to add more of a texture to stone, which is pretty bland.
Right, yeah, you can change a bunch of different blocks. It really gives you customization. I will say that. And I think that this doesn't do anything, the Skulk Sensor, Skull, whatever. But there's something that can go that we've pretty much confirmed that's basically this first thing, but it's in this texture. And I feel like a lot of things that are transparent and that can go on blocks could be really cool because it adds this customization that we haven't really seen before of making different blocks. Like just putting this lichen on blocks and it makes other blocks from those two blocks. It's this combination of blocks that really adds to Minecraft, I think. And it's really not that like it's not that revolutionary. Like it's not non-Minecrafty, I guess. So I don't know. It's definitely better than the roots. I would say that.
I'm definitely thinking it's better than stone.
Yeah, I think iron somewhere in iron.
Yeah.
It's really dull, which is why above moss.
Yeah, definitely above moss in my opinion.
I really like moss, but yeah, I think that this gives it also glows. It's another one of those things that you can put in greenery and it just glows up, and it's just
Yeah.
really cool. So this is the axolotl. I said it was the remains of the axolotl, but I was lying. It's just the axolotl in a bucket, and I'm just gonna take this as axolotls as a whole. And essentially, what they do is they just help you fight sea creatures. So they will attack sea creatures and fish and guardians, and when they're about to die, most of the time when they're about to die, they will play dead and regenerate. Um, so they're not tameable, but if you scoop them up with a bucket and place them back down, they will fight for you.
Honestly,
They're
in my
really cute,
opinion,
though. They're really honestly. Here we go.
it,
Perfect.
it should be a netherite.
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
I agree.
It's
That's
kind of useful,
nothing better.
but yeah, it's definitely up there. I would say. And we're back. The axolotl. Moving from the axolotl, which is top S tier. It's the one of the, it's probably I don't know. It's just very cute. We've already covered it. Let's move on to the bundle. So, if you weren't aware, the bundle basically is just a it's just like a one stack of an item, but you can put as many different items in that one stack of item as possible. So you have a bunch of 64 stack items. You can just put them all into a bundle in one item slot, which is Mojang's attempt at fixing the inventory problem, but it really doesn't fix anything because okay, it fixes one thing, and that's having a bunch of like flowers and seeds and random crap like that when you're adventuring at the very beginning of the game. But then again, and I'll show on screen now, the recipe for making this needs rabbit hide, which I will say is really cool use of an old mechanic, which I've mentioned before, how Mojang does a really good job of using old items and putting them into the new items to give them purpose. But in this case, the only real reason you'd ever use a bundle is if you were early game, and the only way to get a bundle is in like medium to late game. So it's just like, I don't know.
I disagree with that. I feel like they got some use more than pregame. I mean, I certainly don't think that it solved the inventory problem, but I think that it definitely is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it fixes one of those problems. I would say, and that is cool, but I don't know if it's really it's not it's not crazy innovative. It's like like I mean, maybe I'd keep one on me. I would definitely maybe keep one because earlier I was playing on Hourcraft and I had a bunch of random crap in my inventory that I didn't want. Like it just took up a bunch of room, especially when sorting. It's a lot. It's really annoying. So maybe I would maybe when sorting I just put everything I possibly can into the bundles, and then I could carry more with me, and that'd be pretty cool. But I think I'd only carry one on me, if that.
Yeah, one mechanic that I think would be really cool with this, I'm not sure if it's a feature or not, because again, I said I'm not really up to date on this, but if you could right-click a bundle onto a chest and put everything in the bundle into the chest, I feel like that would definitely help its usefulness, especially in the case of sorting stuff.
Yeah, I think that would be a really cool mechanic. Along with people have been asking for bundles to be able to, if you put them in a hopper, it will drain all the items out of the bundle and like first. So instead of just going through as an item, it will go through and then start draining the bundle, which I think would be a really cool mechanic, and it would allow you for super easily just throwing them into a auto sorter and then just taking all of the items out and then putting the bundles somewhere else. So it would be really cool for something like that where you just put a bunch of stuff and then throw it in a sorting thing. Now, argument to that would be, well, shulker boxes don't do that, but I feel like shulker boxes are a whole other thing because you can place them down and hoppers can take from them. Bundles you can't. So I wouldn't say it's as bad as wood tier, which wood tier again isn't that bad. It's just I'd say low stone.
I agree. I agree. That's a good place to put it.
I think above the parkour thing because
I agree. It's parkour.
I mean it's not entirely parkour. It's useful for some other things,
Moving on.
but yeah, okay. So copper. The special thing about copper, and this is the old copper texture, they changed it to be a little bit more green. But the thing about copper is it oxidizes. So it has a bunch of different versions. I only put the first two, but I will show a bunch of them, or I will show it the process of oxidation. Um, and what it does is it essentially goes from like this nice orange to this really like green, like blue green. And I think it's really cool because it adds this thing into Minecraft like aging, which we haven't really seen except for maybe vines. Vines grow. That's aging. But like a change in block state over time. I don't think that's really anything that we've seen before. Um
I love the addition personally. I think that all the copper stuff should easily be top tier, not top tier, but up there just because of how it ages, the different block states, and just that if Minecraft moves forward with a little bit more realism and resembles more of what actually happens, and I feel like this is a great step in that direction again.
yeah, like I was thinking about iron. Iron rusts, and that's not in the game right now. And I feel like if they did add that, it'd be kind of weird because as of right now, the only thing to stop this change in block state, like the oxidization, or maybe if they add rusting later, is by adding it with honeycomb, which again is a perfect representation of how they're using an old like item. Like the honeycomb thing was pretty much useless. It made one block. But adding it to this, which changes block states and has a big purpose, is just a great example of how Mojang incorporates old items. I I think we can just talk about both of these. I don't know which one I like better. I really don't like tiles in this game very much because it kind of I don't know. But both of these textures are kind of tiley. I would say just because of the innovation, diamond for
I
for
was
the
going to say the
basic.
same thing. I'd say for both of them.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely, I think this one's a little bit better. We kind of have to rank the rest differently, but this is just an ore. Like the tech. I feel like not. I don't know because I feel like wood is a little harsh because it's just like I'm gonna say like stone. I guess is where I would put
There's
this.
nothing special about
Yeah,
it.
it just
Yeah.
it just is normal. You break it, you get the block, and then you
I feel like
smelt it to get the
we're
metal.
rating copper as a whole up as an aesthetic more than a tool.
Right. Yeah. Um. Now this you can make out of copper, and it's just a lightning rod. So within a 20 blocker radius, I think, it will just harness lightning, which is cool
I
for automatic like charge creeper farms. But then again, eh.
I really like it personally. This is one thing where I think you might disagree, but I having played Minecraft for such a long time and having played way before Tridents and where lightning striking one of your wooden houses was a miracle, I personally think that a lightning rod should be up close to the top, if not at netherite, just for that ability to control weather. Because other than sleeping, there's not really anything that adjusts weather. And I feel like it can be used as an aesthetic on roofs, it can be used functionally, and it can also be, again, used for charge creeper farms.
Now, I do agree with all of those points. I completely agree. The only thing is, I mean, talking from my experience, I almost always play with fire tick off, which is why lightning doesn't affect me. But I feel like we should, or I should be grading this on not like the version that I play, like Optifine with the telescope. I voted. I think that that's cool. Just disregarding Optifine exists. So I feel like adding this game rule into the mix is kind of not fair. So I would definitely say, I will firmly settle with diamond because there's also a lot of aesthetics you can do with it, and it does contrast the end rod while also being similar. It also works with acacia, so like making a table or making like an old school diner would maybe be really cool. So it's definitely a very cool aesthetic block that I've seen more use than almost all of these blocks with aesthetics, and I really like those little details that you can add with different blocks. Moving on, this is like dripstone blocks. So I'll show a picture on screen of those type of caves, and it essentially is just like dripstone. They're like stalactites and stalagmites going like thinner in the middle and then growing out. This is like actually what that is in block form, and that grows. Well, it doesn't grow, but it yeah. I don't know how to explain it.
It generates.
Stalactites and stalagmites, and they go up and down, and they can connect in the middle. The block is basically aesthetic, so honestly, I don't. It's not bad, but I would say somewhere.
I think it's
Actually, I
pretty
think this is
ugly
worse.
personally. Now, I'm saying that completely towards the block. So I think that the block definitely can be put in wood.
Yeah.
But again, having said earlier, my belief in the cave update, and I'm sure a lot of other people that play Minecraft can agree, that we have wanted some changes in the caves and some more excitement and some difference in caves. And I'm a huge proponent of that. And I think for that reason that stalagmites should definitely be an iron or diamond, just for the fact that they are completely changing caves, which have stayed relatively the same for quite a long time.
Yeah. So my opinion on that is definitely it adds to it, but this specifically is very basic. Like it's literally a bunch of these blocks and then these. So like these dripstone caves specifically are kind of boring compared to like let's just count, right? So we have stalactites like the block and then the dripstone thing. Now for lush caves we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this item. Like
I
compared
agree.
to lush caves, it's very boring.
Yes, but think about this with the Nether update, where you have the different forests. There's the Soul Sand Valley, which is very bland and very boring, but it still brought another element and a change to the Nether, which was again needed. But with the caves, yes, it's basic, but it is still a change from what it was originally, which is, I think, again, what a lot of people are looking for.
Right, but as of right now, like that's all it does. I mean, these do extra damage, which is why I definitely class them higher. Like they do damage if you drop like I think they quadruple fall damage, which is really cool for mob farms. Very impractical, as Ilmango and other people have shown that it's very impractical to use. We thought it'd be kind of cool. Also, dropping them is kind of cool. You can throw a trident and they fall, which is why this is a really cool mechanic. But as a whole, that biome, which is basically what I'm talking about with this block at this point, I just don't think it's that cool. I will agree with you that it does add variety, but then again, Soul Sand Valleys added a very cool. Like I love the Soul Soil, and on top of that, they also added Soul Speed. So we really have to get further on into the development of these before I can really say either way. But as of right now, I definitely think that this is a really cool block or item or whatever it is, and this block is just ugly, kind of. So I don't really know. Um,
I
we
can
can
agree with that.
yeah. So let's move on to the only snapshot that I've covered on the channel. I cover almost. Well, I actually didn't cover the one snapshot last Wednesday. And there was a B update yesterday or today when we're filming this. But this is the only one that I've covered on the channel, and basically it's just the glow squid, which don't know why it was voted so much. It's so boring, and it's not optifined, so they don't actually glow. They just emit particles. Anyways, they dropped the glowing sack, which can be put on signs to make them glow, which is cool, but only a feature at night, essentially. And it can also be attached to item frames to make them glow, which, again, I mean, if you want a cooler item frame look, I suppose that could also work. Void rooms didn't change at all because you could have just put sea lanterns or any other light source behind them, but this allows it for, like, I guess you can compact it, if that makes any sense. Like, if you have a very tight space, like, you don't need to use those blocks behind. I'm getting ahead of myself. It doesn't really matter. This lights it up, and it can be put on signs with dye to light them up as well, and that's the only really feature of this. So I think we should kind of rate the item frame first, and in my opinion, it's not innovative per se, but it's, like, honestly, it's not that cool. Like, actually,
That's the same spot that I would put it in the front of stone, in my opinion, or higher up in stone at least, because I feel like
it's not
it's a
really that
cool
crazy.
idea. It can light up an area. There's a lot of options with it, and I personally like it. I mean, we can't really vote on that because on the Artcraft server we use invisible item frames, which yes,
Right,
they'll
right.
still glow, but the look is different. And I feel like in like a more rustic atmosphere with the item frame, the glow would be cool. But on the state of the glow squid,
Yeah, yeah. This ink
just
sac
have to say it.
represents them.
I was, and I'm gonna completely vote this on the squid. I did not want the squid in the first place. I didn't think it was a great idea, but I was at least excited where you could make underwater aquariums or worlds with glowing squid, and then the squid didn't glow.
Yeah, I mean, of course it doesn't glow. That's been a thing. That's been a thing that people have complained about for a very long time now.
Yes, I expected that it would at least glow.
Right. I mean, for mine, I will say, if you haven't really seen them like a lot, they emit particles, and for what Minecraft currently is capable of, it glows according to Minecraft. Like, it emits particles, and it does shine underwater, but it doesn't actually glow like a sea lantern, and it doesn't emit any light. Which I will also have to say, for the signs that glow up, they don't emit any light, and the same for the item frames, which is why we all thought that invisible, like, if you had access to Creative or Vanilla Tweaks' book, then you could make invisible lighting, but they don't do that, so it's kind of, I mean, anyways, back to the glow squid. um,
I personally would rank this in wood,
yeah,
just because it's not really useful. The signs only glow at night. They don't emit light. Nothing emits light from this, not even the glow squid. I am super disappointed by this, and I feel like there could have been a lot of adjustments that would have made it a lot better.
yeah, I feel like if they glue, or this is still in the future, it could happen, but as of right now, what is insects? Insects, they give you black dye, one of the two ways. As of right now, we don't even have an insect farm on our craft. We have a wither rose farm, but that's separate. So as of right now, like, insects don't do much, but one of the things that they do is give you a supplier for dyes. So maybe it would be cool if somehow this could make glowing armor. Um, and that glowing armor doesn't specifically have to glow like movable light. It could be like the spectral effect. So when you have it on, it just outlines that armor in whatever color. So it could be really cool to add different, like, add it to armor, like leather armor is what I'm talking about, which is, again, kind of useless. But it would be cool if there was more features for it, except for these two. But then again, it's still in snapshots. The cave update hasn't come out yet, so we don't really know. So I'm gonna still rank it in wood. I really don't think it's that crazy, even though we are ranking its subsidiary. That's not the right word. Might be. I don't know. We are ranking it quite high. Now, I actually want to change the order a little bit. First of all, I want to talk about the deep slate, which was called Grimstone. They changed it. So this is cobbled deep slate. So essentially, cobbled. This is an alternative to cobblestone. It can be used in any crafting recipe. Cobblestone can be used in. and it's basically an alternative. Now this is not the right texture because I didn't re-add it to the tier list, but they changed the texture so that the top of this texture is just darker stone, and that's normal stone. So when you break that stone, it turns into cobble deep slate, which is just cobblestone. So essentially, this is just an all new stone category for around level 0 and under, which I will also say right now they've changed the height limit to be like 300 something, and they changed the bedrock level to be like -64. So this spawns around level 0, but it kind of like goes upwards a little higher than that as well. Um it is a cool innovation, I would say, because again, Cave Update is basically here for changing caves as we know it. And changing the entire underneath part of the world is a huge step into changing Minecraft for I think the better. And it really doesn't do anything incredible. Like all the different ores that can spawn down there also have their counterpart, which we'll talk about in a second. And they are a little bit harder to break if that is like annoying, and so is Deep Slate, which is kind of annoying. But then again, Bedrock is at the very bottom of the world, and that is impossible to break. So as of right now, we go down to Stone, which can be one broken with a haste beacon and efficiency 5, to Bedrock, which can't ever be broken. So putting a middle level between Insta Break, almost Insta Break, and then Bedrock is just a cool lore aspect. I really like it, especially because of the gradients that you can do now is ridiculous. I like Deep
I
Slate.
I love the idea. It's a dark stone-like block where if you wanted stone to be a little darker, you couldn't really do anything. You just have to deal with the light stone, and there wasn't really any alternative. Where now you have a great, as you said, ability to make gradients, an ability to sort of bring a build and make it darker compared to just using regular cobblestone or stone. And I love it. In my opinion, I like all the dark slate. It brings a whole nother ability for you to build in a darker theme, and I would definitely rank it in the top two.
Okay, this is what I'll say. At the Deep Slate biome as a whole, and with this block, I would rank Netherrack. I don't think we can rank the other ones up there, but I definitely think that they're really cool. So for now, I'm just gonna put them all here somewhere. Um, Now I
I
guess
will
we can just go
say
through all of them individually and see, but
I can agree with that placement, but the one block that you're holding on right now, I don't know exactly what it's called.
yeah, neither do I. I think it's
But
tile.
I
I
think
don't
that
know.
that should definitely be on Netherite, in my opinion. It's a great texture, different colors, but it's still the darker theme, and I feel like that can fit in so many different builds.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. I think that this is just a retexture of stone bricks. This
Hmm.
is rarely going to be used, which is why I don't even like. I don't think it
I don't even
deserves to
know what
be
it
at the
is,
same.
so I'll be honest.
It.
Yeah, I can agree.
Do you know how there's it's basically a chiseled block. So putting two slabs on top of each other gets you this. The same way as like
Yeah.
sandstone stuff. I don't think it's ever going to be used though.
Oh
Maybe as an
no. Yeah,
accent, but
I agree.
as a bulk use, I don't see it. But the rest of them, I will say they're really cool, and especially because we just saw the addition of Blackstone, which basically does this but with darker textures. So if we just go super basic, a gradient between like Blackstone bricks to this deep slate bricks to normal stone bricks, it's just a complete gradient as it is from black to gray to white, and I think that's just really cool. In 21W07A, which is last week's snapshot, Andesite used to spawn below Y0, along with these ores weren't updated either. I'm talking about this tough now. It used to surround the crystal geodes, the amethyst geodes. Now it just basically replaces amethyst from like Y0 in this deep slate kind of biome.
Can it
So
do anything?
no, it's just as of right now. There's not even any other forms. So it's cool. It also goes with that gradient, but like looking at this tier list the way it is, it's I like I,
I disagree with that. I
uh,
feel like again with the gradient and just another layer of stone, I feel like that can go on the last end of iron. I feel like it can be a great use for
Yeah.
just, again, the more options you have for building in the same color palette, especially with how nice these grays and these blacks are going to be able to fit into one build palette, I feel like it should definitely be somewhat up there.
Um, when making big builds, I've really realized that a ton of detail isn't needed if you don't want it. But a big crucial thing about Minecraft is, and you can see this in Exumer's, on the Hermitcraft server, his huge brewing like mansion, I guess you can call it. There's not a ridiculous amount of detail at all. It's really simple if you look at it bare bones. But he has a ton of different textures going on randomly throughout the build, and it just your eyes get attracted to a big random assortment of this huge bare wall, but it's not bare because there's a ton of different textures going on. And this I feel like could go amazingly with that stone, cobblestone, maybe even stone bricks, andesite, gravel maybe. Like it could just go with all of those blocks, especially if you're making a huge build. It would just fit perfectly with all of those and add that little bit of extraness. Extraness? Whatever. I think that it's not revolutionary. It's very simple, but I think that it can go with gradients and with adding a little bit of texture to builds.
I feel like a lot of these stones and some of the other smaller details that you have the ability now to add nuance to your builds and be able to just fit in small details without making them stick out too much, but being able to add some differentiation between parts of your build.
Robot alert. You cut out I mean it was understandable. So let's move on to these new textures. So I will only say this. The only thing that I don't care what you say, you're being ignored for this. I'm getting one block and it's all myself. We're gonna do berries are so useless. But I'm rating these as not just their blackstone or their deep slate variants because I really like the deep or like the black versions. It's like turning on dark mode. I really like it. The only thing is I hate this version of iron. I just don't like it at all. Now if you
I
don't
can agree. I can agree.
now I understand what they were going for, like especially Japa making like long streaks of iron. And they're doing this because if people are colorblind, it's really hard to tell the ores apart. Um, they don't change diamond because it's so iconic. But I understand why they're doing this at least. I get that, and I actually don't hate any of the other ones. They changed lapis a little bit, redstone also from last week a little bit, and the same with gold. It's different from its nether variant. So I'm gonna say that we can like just each of them get a step up. Just I'm not gonna actually change it in the tier list, but I'm saying that each of these get a step up for being these deep slate variants. I really like that. But as of right now, um these I'm just kind of rating it on the aesthetic, like what the texture looks like, the texture change.
I feel like putting it in netherite is a little bit too much,
I mean, it
but
fits
I,
here.
I agree with you. Being able to mine or in a mining atmosphere, having just a darker, again, gradient and different blocks you can use definitely is going to be nicer as an aesthetic, but just in general, having to mine these and having it take longer, it is going to be frustrating. So it probably won't be better in a practical sense, but for making things look better, it's definitely going to add another level of that.
Yeah, I will have to agree. The only thing is, if you have an efficiency 5 pickaxe, the change isn't drastic
It
enough.
doesn't really matter. Yeah.
I will say that because of the increase in the first increased cave snapshot, which is it's just out. I mean obviously, but it there was you could see with night vision especially you could see diamonds everywhere. And since then they've changed that so that it's kind of like ancient debris in the way that ancient debris never spawns with air next to it, but they have lessened the chance of ores to spawn near um air in under Y0 or in this deep slate biome. I'm pretty sure only
Makes
there.
sense. More compressed. It makes sense.
Right. So now like you have to dig one block at least so that you're not just looking with night vision and mining a stack of diamonds in literally a minute, because with these huge caves it just exposes so many ores. So pushing them back like even one in the wall would just add stuff. And also because waterlogged caves, which I haven't brought up before, but waterlogged caves, um you can find more ores in them, which is really cool because you need to adventure through these waterlogged caves. You need to be able to breathe. So because it doesn't count as air, there's a lot more spawning in the open, and like you can put a conduit down there. If you find a huge water cave, you grab a conduit, you put it down there, infinite water, and you can see better. So now if you spend the extra time to bring this conduit, which again, adding like new use to old things and blocks and whatnot, you can find more ores by swimming into caves, which I think is a really cool concept. I'm kind of getting carried away from these normal blocks.
Yeah, I personally think that all of these darker ores can just be put at least somewhat in the same category because they're all alike and they all are nice and can be used, but I mean, they're not too revolutionary.
Right. I mean, I just really like the diamond ore. I don't know. There's something about it.
Yeah, the black and the blue is nice.
Right. And on top of that, like, this is a texture that hasn't changed since, like, ever, I don't think. Well, actually, it has. They flipped the texture a while back with the texture change. But it just appeals to my eyes and appeals way better than this lapis. But I really don't think any of them are bad, except I just don't like the iron, and I
I can
know
agree.
that some people won't agree with me, but I've definitely seen more people like YouTubers especially just say that it isn't good, and I will definitely have to agree with that. Moving on to one of the better additions, I would say, is candles. It's super subtle, and it works basically like a sea pickle, 1 to 4, and it can go in a birthday cake. Now, disregarding the first snapshot where you can place it on a birthday cake and then eat the birthday cake and get infinite candles, that's been fixed, so disregard me speaking. But it's just another light source, and I was actually planning on putting it in with all the different blue versions in the nether tunnels, just because it's a very like nice looking light source, and it also is not colored lighting in the general sense of what people want, which is like colored lights, but it's a light source that is colorful, and it just fits a lot better.
I love the addition, personally. I think that, and you might not agree with me here, but I think the candles are the best addition in this entire update.
Okay, I don't agree with you.
I know you might not, but I definitely think candles should be at least in netherite. Just because so many builds can use candles as it can be subtle, it can be expressive of a theme, like a medieval theme, and the candles can just fit really anywhere and not really draw too much attention. But again, it's another light source, and Minecraft needs more light sources, and especially one that fits in a build that really doesn't have a good looking light source. I feel like is a great change and a great addition.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with that. I don't think it's the best because, as we're seeing, Skulk Sensors are very innovative, and none of these blocks, I will have to say, none of these blocks are revolutionary. They don't add anything um, to like the core mechanics of Minecraft.
Which is nice though. Just not breaking the game, because when people say that they want stuff added to Minecraft that's just so absurd and that makes no sense to add in Minecraft and just sort of destroy how Minecraft's been for so long, I feel like they don't really understand just the basics.
Moving on to the powdered snow. I don't know why they're both in here. I'm not very good at making tier lists apparently. Oh, look at that. Follow there. I wonder what that is. Anyways, um follow my Instagram, not my Twitter. It's the same tag though. Anyways, powdered snow. Essentially, if you fall in it, you can get frozen. Your hearts change and they look really cool, and then you start to freeze. Skeletons turn to husks, the other version, whatever they're called, and you can farm slowness arrows. I'm pretty sure, which is actually kind of cool. But um, powdered snow also can fill up cauldrons, and if you put them out, like the only way to get them so far, I think, is just putting cauldrons in a snowy biome, and then snow falls on the cauldrons, and snowy cauldron, milk in a cauldron is what it looks like. Um,
I like it. I like the addition. I mean, again, it's nothing too special, but it's a subtle detail that I guarantee in aesthetics of builds, someone will find a great use for.
it looks identical to snow, but sure. Um, the only difference is you can fall through it. So traps, especially in a snowy wonderland, even not even traps. Like it could be a really cool way of just getting in somewhere. Like you place it down and
Hidden
right,
entrances,
exactly.
or I feel like it's also going to be, and I really didn't think about this, but a great tool for map makers from find the buttons to can you escape to anything like that. It's a great hidden feature. It's very simple.
I'm also pretty sure that you can push it with pistons and pick it up with dispensers. So that's something that we have never really seen before. It's a movable block, and if you're wearing leather boots, you can stand on it. So it can literally maybe even be used as some form of like disappearing um, bridge, if you will. Like you have a bunch of these, and then it scoops it up, or pistons push it, and then when it gets to the back, it gets swooped up by dispensers. I don't know. I maybe we can make something like that and show it off. Yeah, I think it's really cool. The block itself. The way of getting it is very weird because you just put it in, which I'm just gonna classify this as the way of getting it because I added both of them. So the way of getting it is it's not really intuitive. Like I mean, it's intuitive. That was not the right word. It's intuitive. It's really intuitive, but it's also farmable. But it's really weird on how you have to put it in a snow biome, and then that's the only way of getting it. Then again, Minecraft is
It
mainly
is
about
snow.
farms. Yeah, and it is powdered snow, which actually makes sense. So that when it falls from the sky, it's different than the snow that you can get from the floor. Um,
Yeah, and again, it sort of adds to the. I would definitely not put it up too high. I would still stay in stone, in my opinion. But it again, as you were saying earlier with the amethyst, it sort of adds to that locational farming that Minecraft is trying to embrace.
yes, locational farming, really cool. Moving on to Skulk Sensors. Now, I will say that this is a very long. I'm gonna rush through this explanation. It'll be just like one of those auctioneer people, but I don't know how to do that. So essentially, Skulk Sensors can be taken a comparator output, and what they can do is if you put a comparator output in that has a certain level, it can change what it can sense and what it can't sense, and it also gets block updates, or it gets a redstone output depending on whether like whatever it's happening. So if there's it's not really about sounds per se. It's about vibrations, which technically sounds like vibrations, but Minecraft is Minecraft. So essentially, what it does is it gets vibrations, which is only specific sounds in the game, and what it can do is it can give out a redstone output depending on whatever it is. And that redstone output is different when sensed in a comparator because it senses what type of action you do, which there's only 15 different things that they can do with that, but they have categorized it and they're still changing. So essentially, it can be wireless redstone because you can like send redstone through and then it can pick it up and different stuff like that. It's not crazy wireless redstone, which I think is really good. They accidentally added this wireless redstone, and it's also can be used in a lot of different things. Like I can't name any of them, but it can be used for like making a door. If you throw a fishing rod, now it can open a door super easily, or placing down and
Also,
opening a chest, something like that. Like
sending redstone signals that aren't so ugly,
right, it also has
like
that
massive
new
torch
aesthetic.
towers and massive
Oh, I
observer
didn't even
lines.
think of that. Yeah, I can even add it in my pristine flying machine in the gold farm, which you'll see in the newest Hourcraft video. Um,
But the one thing that I mean, I agree with you where they couldn't make Skulk sensors too powerful for wireless redstone because I know a lot of people want to just direct wireless redstone, and that would completely ruin, at least in my opinion, would ruin the thought process and the actual engineering and thinking of Minecraft Redstone, which is one reason why, at least I enjoy Minecraft Redstone. So I feel like it was definitely a great addition. I feel like they definitely limited how it works and its power, which was a good thing. but I feel like they may, especially with how much wool is needed and how little the distance can be traveled, I feel like they could have not restricted it as much as they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I really do like um how it can specifically give you certain actions that it requires, and waterlogging it makes it silent, and wool insulates it so that it can only pick up different things from certain directions, and if you spend hours upon hours, there is a possibility of making an AFK fish farm, which is kind of cool. I don't think Razeworks even actually figured out how to perfect it yet, but I don't know if that is a possibility that could happen because of how fishing rods work. And as of right now, it's just kind of random. They just found the average of how fishing farms work as of right now, and in 1.16 is they just kind of found the average of when fish bite, and then they make you retract your fishing rod. It doesn't work efficiently, so it could, if it can be used as AFK fishing, it could be really cool, especially because it is one of those late game items, and we don't know how to get it yet, but we know that just by looking at the aesthetic, it will be found deeper in the world, or even maybe in the end. Maybe they want to adventure into there, because I was about to say that the end is one big cave, but I feel like that was last update with the Nether is one big cave. The end is one big sky. Um, so I don't really know what they're gonna do with it, but I definitely know that it is really cool as of right now, and the capabilities are endless. Which it's Minecraft. It is limiting, but there are certain features that are really cool, and I'm happy that they've added.
I think that just in general, with everyone wanting this cave update, I feel like Minecraft just did a really good job of trying to keep Minecraft's essence while keeping Minecraft the same and not ruining it for those who've played for such a long time.
Right. So I think what Editing Bug is trying to say here is he want like Minecraft is has to update. Every like they want to keep updating it, and the community keeps wanting to see it updated, but you have to be able to cross, you can't cross the line between vanilla and modding, and that is something that is super hard now that we've gotten to a stage in the game where you just have run out of ideas that you could think of. And I definitely have to give Mojang props on the amount of things that they have done that hasn't pushed too far into that modding category, but also feels vanilla. That didn't make any sense.
That's what I was trying to say, except I'm bad English.
Right, and what I said wasn't much better.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um
It's a
keeping
balance.
Yeah, a balance between keeping it vanilla and also adding new features to keep the community happy, which they don't have to do, because if they stopped updating Minecraft, I feel like Java players at least wouldn't change in the money sales, because the realms is the only money that they're making past buying the game. And I feel like they're not making a ridiculous amount of money on Java realms, because most of the time people are just playing on servers like Apex. Um, Server hosting and whatnot. The SMP was moved to Realms without us knowing. Kind of aggravating. Um, anyways, we've only mentioned the SMP once before, and I said my mom's gonna like me because I'm popular. I'm not popular anymore. So, anyways, I'm just gonna shut up about any of that. Let's just final thoughts, right? We kind of just covered that. So, past final thoughts, is the tier list good? I guess is kind of what we need to go to.
I think that it's pretty good. I think we did a great job organizing everything. I wouldn't change too much.
I
I
really,
like it. I feel like we definitely got everything at least remotely where it should be. Um, and my final closing, especially I was going to say earlier before I couldn't speak, was that with the Nether update, with the cave update, I feel like another great update, which you were sort of alluding to by suggesting where Skulk Sensors might be, is that the end is very bland with all you have are end cities and the chorus fruits. I feel like there is a huge room for improvement there, and I feel like, at least personally, that would be the next great update.
Mojang has said that they aren't going to make any. Like, I'm agreeing with you, and I don't want you to think I'm not. Mojang has said that they're not going to make any more dimensions until they polish all of the already existing dimensions to a point where it's just like adding stuff is just like oil on
Pointless.
fire. It's just like, well, that's not right. Water and oil? I don't know. It's just like adding to nothing. They've perfected it so much that they can branch out to new. So maybe in 1.27, so like 10 years, a decade from now. But I think that a necessary step would be starting with the end and trying to add things. The only thing is, well, I mean, I couldn't think of anything to put underground, so I mean, I'm a terrible person to kind of judge on whether or not it can be possible to add something to the end. And I really think that Mojang, if anyone can do it, Mojang can, because they really are committed to this game. And on top of that, they are really good at adding stuff that doesn't feel wrong in the eyes of a Minecrafter. But I think we've said everything that we need to say. I think this is a good like hour and a half long video. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's way too long.
It's fine. It's all good.